So I'm going to teach you how to make a gourmet meal. This meal is filet mignon, roasted potatoes, and roasted broccoli. So I have some 10-ounce cuts of filet mignon. This is tenderloins. And I got these at an Amish market. So the very first thing you want to do is this right here. This is just pounding it out just a little bit. This is going to also tenderize it. Next, we are going to take our dry rub. So right here, I'm going to explain to you all of the herbs and the spices that I used. So we are going to first create a dry rub, and then we are still going to marinate these in the refrigerator for 1 to 4 hours. So what we have is smoked paprika, we have dried rosemary, we have dry mustard, we also have garlic powder, white cracked pepper, and black cracked pepper. And we also have smoked sea salt. That is what you see. That is the dark brown color right here. So you'll see the smoked sea salt. You see all the seasonings here. You just want to mix them up just like I did in the previous clip. And then you are going to literally rub it all over the tenderloin. So what you want to do is you want to use all of this. This was 1 tablespoon of each seasoning. I know it looks like a lot, but it was not. Keep in mind, these are steak. They need to be well seasoned. So you want to take your time doing this. You do want to rub one side first and the ends. You just want to roll it around, and then you're going to flip it over and do the exact same thing. And now we are going to create the marinades. Here I have a mortar, which this helps you create a paste. You're going to take 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and then 1 tablespoon of the dried rosemary, and you are going to mix that together and create a paste. Once you create the paste, you are going to add 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce and then 1 tablespoon of liquid smoke. You might be able to use less of the liquid smoke depending on the one that you have. For this one, I used about a tablespoon, probably a little bit less, but I did use a tablespoon. You want to mix that in, and then you want to scrape off the stand, and you're going to mix everything in. Make sure that the sides are scraped down, just like I'm doing here. In the next clip, I'm going to show you exactly how this should look. So just keep in mind that we are doing 6 tenderloin, so this is why we're doing 1 tablespoon of liquid smoke. Next, you are going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is going to balance out the salt in the soy sauce. You want to mix the sugar in, make sure that it is dissolved, and then you will have created yourself the marinade. If done correctly, the marinade should look just like this. You see everything in here. This is the marinade that you have created. Now you are simply going to take your tenderloins. I have 6 of them, and again, these are 10-ounce cuts, so that's why I have made a lot of marinade, and I have used 1 tablespoon of the soy sauce and the liquid smoke. Simply next, you're going to pour all of the marinade. Make sure you scrape everything out over the meat, and then you are going to take your hands and get them all massaged and mixed up in there. Please take your time doing this. So when most people season food, you just season it with the dry seasoning, and then that's it. You probably just end up cooking it. And then some people, if they marinate it, they just marinate it for a couple hours, and then they cook it. For this gourmet meal, we are going to marinate these tenderloins for a minimum of 1 to 4 hours. I would not marinate it longer than 4 hours. Some marinades, the longer that you marinate it, the more flavorful it is. But this is pretty flavorful because it has a dry rub as well as that marinade. So this is what they look like, and you're going to pop those right in your refrigerator. So after that time period, it is time to actually cook these steaks. So I do suggest that you use a cast iron pan, and you want to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of my rosemary X thyme infused olive oil. I will link the video in the description for that. And then you are going to let it get super hot. You want this pan on high heat. Then you are going to place the filet mignons into the pan. I did 6, so I did 3 at a time. You do not want to overload this pan. So keep in mind that this pan is extremely hot. So we're going to cook these for 3 minutes per side, and then we are going to flip them. So I know that 3 minutes per side sounds like it's not enough time and the meat is not cooked all the way through, and you are absolutely right. We do not want to cook this meat all the way through, so that is why I said 3 minutes per side, 6 minutes in total. So now we're going to take some garlic butter after the first flip. We're going to take some steak butter. I'm sorry, not garlic butter. It's garlic in the steak butter, but it's called steak butter. I am going to provide a video of how I make that so you guys can see. Right here, you just see me turning it because I wanted to create some nice grill marks. After the last 3 minutes, you are going to remove the steaks from the pan. Please do not rinse your pan out. We are about to do something next, and if you cook, you should know what I'm about to do. So you want to cover the meat, and then now we are about to create the gravy. So all those seasonings at the bottom of that pan that you cook the steak in is going to season your gravy. So you want to gradually add 3 cups of water. And first, you are specifically going to take a whisk and you are going to whisk and get all of that stuff at the bottom, the seasonings and everything, and you're going to get that mixed into the water. So you want to scrape the bottom of the pan. This causes everything to deglaze. So the water basically deglazes the pan and allows the drippings to dissolve in that water. So once you feel like everything is dissolved, you are going to take 1/3 cup of flour. You are going to gradually add the flour. You do not want to add it at once because you will have very, very clunky gravy. You don't want that. So you want to gradually add it. You can even sift it in if you want to do it that way, but that's very time consuming. It's really not that serious. But if you want to, you can. So right here, you kind of see the clumps and you see them forming. This is why I said to gradually do it. But you want to take your time in whisking and breaking those clumps up. So this whole process of making the gravy should take you no more than 10 minutes. Once you start to add the flour, and if you feel like you've added all the flour and you feel like it's too thick, add water, but gradually add the water because it's going to get thick. You want your gravy thick, but you do not want it clunky. So right here you see me just going through making sure all of the clunks are out, and then you're going to see me add a little bit more water because it got too thick, and then you're going to see me mix it up, and then you'll see it start to get really, really smooth. And if you look closely, you can see all the seasonings and the herbs that's in here. This gravy is already seasoned. If you want to add extra seasonings, go ahead. But in my recipe, I use what was already in the pan. So right here, you see how smooth it is. I'm actually going to switch to a wooden spoon. You want to turn your heat up because you want this to boil. And again, you want it to be thick, and it should look just like this. So what I did at the end was I added 1 tablespoon of the steak butter just to let it give it a little bit more flavor. Transferred it to the bowl, and now I'm about to make the sides for this meal. I made some roasted potatoes, as you can see here, with my herb blend that I always use. I'll link the video to the herb blend that I created because this is just potatoes sliced up. And the way that we finish the steaks is that we take some of the gravy and put it in a saucepan. We add the filet mignons for about 5 minutes and they are cooked. So now you're done. It is time to plate your food. So right here, I'm just showing you that if you're at a 4 or 5-star restaurant and your server comes, they will always face the meat at 6 o'clock, which means that it's facing you. So right here, you see me showing you the roasted potatoes that I did, and then I also roasted some broccoli as well. So the way that I plated mine was I put the meat at the 6 o'clock, and then I went ahead and put the roasted potatoes in the middle, and then I faced the broccoli toward the meat. So if you are at a 5-star restaurant, you should definitely have a 5-star experience. Even if you do this at home, you can do this as like a date, you know. It's very, very elegant, and it is a gourmet meal. Everything on my channel technically is gourmet, but this is a steak dinner for 2. And this was an event that was catered. They had lobster, steak. They had a lot of different things, so I just decided to show you guys how I made it. So after you get the broccoli on here, you are going to clean up the plate. You want to clean up any splatters or anything, and then you're going to take your gravy and you are going to drizzle it over the steak only. So most of the time they will drizzle it over the steak, and then they are going to sit this container on the table for you if you want an extra, because a lot of people like the gravy. So now after you get that done, you are going to clean up the gravy, clean up the splatters as well. And presentation is everything. So if you are doing this as a date night, I hope that you can follow this video as a reference, just so you know you can get the whole feel. I'm going to do a couple more videos of like beverage service, table settings, and things like that. So again, you just want to take your time. It doesn't have to be perfect, but for me, you know, I gotta take my time and do it. So you are completely done. This is what it looks like. And let me know how you guys like this recipe, and if you do, you know, the little date night thingy or whatever, or couples night, just let me know how it turns out, and I will see you guys in my next video.